Welcome to another episode of The List. I'm your host, Enterprise. Joining me as sometimes Bossman. The title we are scratching off the list today is Any Given Sunday. This is a behind the scenes look at the life and death struggles of modern day gladiators and those who lead them. Modern day being the brink of the early 2000s. 1999, directed by Oliver Stone, starring Al Pacino, Dennis Quaid, Cameron Diaz, James Wood, Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, Matthew Modine, aka Papa, James Brown, Lawrence Taylor, Bill Bellamy, everybody in the movie, dog.
Yeah.
So I saw it now with an adult eyes. I've seen this movie before. Like, it's one of those that you catch on the TV.
Okay.
On Sundays, giggity, and then you're like, oh, are they gonna win or whatever? But now understanding the game completely, the X's and O's of the game, understanding the actors, understanding everything, definitely wanted to see it with those eyes, and especially with the season kicking off literally today. So. The first thing that pops out of my mind was Jim Brown, the legend, one of the greatest of all time, playing the defensive coordinator, which is weird because he was a running back. But yeah, he was great. He was an actor way before this too. And
I didn't know that, you know? I didn't know that he was that
he was acting before?
No, he was an NFL player.
What?
Former NFL player. I've seen him in several movies then.
Wait, he's the greatest running back of all time.
He like a fourth. He has a fourth record, right? Something like that.
He's a running back. He was like,
I know, but yards, he has a record, right now?
He has still up. I'm not sure, but he's basically football's Jackie Robinson.
Okay.
Jim Brown. And on the other side of the ball, not on the other side of the ball. On the other side of the ball of real life, you have LT, the greatest defensive player of all time, playing the linebacker here too. You know LT?
No.
Not LaDainian Tomlinson.
I know.
Lawrence Taylor.
Okay. Who is
Beast.
that guy? The Beast. Oh, okay.
The fucking guy who wants the cortisone shot in the movie. That's real shit. They really go through that shit. Mm-hmm. But he's the greatest middle linebacker of all time. Who's the greatest defensive player of all time. Some guys are creeping up now, Aaron Donald and whatnot. But Lawrence Taylor broke a motherfucker's leg off on Monday Night Football. So that was football back then.
Yeah.
And they have other ones like T.O.'s also running around in there.
Yeah, you can see face right there.
But we got all the best initials in football in this movie playing real life receivers. So my question is going in is how real is it to actual football?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you watch football movies, like, was it The Replaceables or The Replacements with Keanu? Is that what the name of that one is? Replacements?
I think so. He was a quarterback, right?
He's Falco in that one.
Yeah.
Flacco? Falco.
Falco.
Not Flacco.
Not Joe Flacco. No.
Not Joe Flacco. Falco.
Falco.
You know Joe Flacco, but you don't know fucking Lawrence Taylor? You're fired. What the hell's wrong with you? Anyway, football movies are more like, they like the actual physics of the football part is usually really wonky. So I wanted to know how legit this was, especially when it comes to football talk. A lot of those movies are wonky. And here, Pacino's first speech, he's talking about real football, X's and O's, and making adjustments.
Yeah.
And here, okay, they fucking did this here, so we got to make sure that the defensive line is shifting here. Like, his first speech, he's like talking real football shit.
You can feel it.
Which I felt it as a fan. And as a fan, I'm like, I felt it and I appreciated it because I know what he's talking about. Okay, when you slide, you got to go slant. And usually you don't get that kind of talk. You just get hoorah moments, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we're the better team and all this other bullshit. But no, most real talk.
I know, most of the football movies I saw is like real life shit that happens before, like remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. But this one is not real story, but it's based on football. It's
real football.
Yeah, from this one of the great movies.
The games feel like fighting scenes in an action movie.
You think so?
That's how I feel like.
Well, back then they don't give. I mean, there were not too much rules like now, you know.
But I do have to give out a warning. I gotta give like a motion sickness warning if you're very sensitive to that, because the camera while everything's happening, running down the sideline, it's jiggling like crazy, like crazy, and not like a little bit, like a lot of times. It jiggles a lot of times. So speaking about fighting scenes, did you know that there was a real fight in real life between Jamie Foxx and LL Cool J douche?
No.
Yeah, they came to blows on set.
Neta?
So they were talking shit back and forth. And you know, Jamie being a comedian, he started off being a comedian and then he transitioned into acting. And it's a similar path than LL did, but he started in the rap game and then he transitioned into acting.
Yeah, rapping it.
So they were just talking shit back and forth, and LL Cool J is like, you want, let's compare checks or whatever, and he's like talking mad shit. So there's a scene where they're both walking off field, right? And they're talking shit to each other. You gotta fucking block. You gotta do this. You gotta do that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, they filmed that scene 5 times because the first time, LL ear holes Jamie. What does ear hole mean? It means you get punched in the hole where the and that rings your bell a little.
Yeah.
You know? So you do that to like wake him up, but it's too much for Jamie. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And LL was doing this every time, every scene.
Okay. Damn.
So this is the scene where they're walking off field. So, and one of them, Jamie turned around and socked LL Cool J in the face. So you got Lawrence Taylor, T.O., Jim Brown. You got all these ex-football players. They come in and break it up, right? So after they break it up and they're far apart, LL is like, we got it. Let's do it again. He comes up, he daps Jamie. You know, he's all cool with him after the fight breaks up. They do the take again. This is the 5th take. LL takes Jamie's helmet off and knocks him out with one of the helmets. All this was told by Bill Bellamy on the Get Your Popcorn podcast with T.O., who was also in the film, like I mentioned. And he was retelling this story. And everybody on the podcast was like, let's find that footage. But Jamie don't want that footage out. He got knocked out cold. So,
well, in the movie, they don't really like each other either, right?
No, and you can kind of tell that they really don't like each other, right? Yeah. And it's mostly because they hated each other in real life. Why they did, I'm not really sure why they had beef with each other, but
I didn't know that, man.
They knocked out, not they, LL Cool J knocked Jamie Foxx the fuck out.
Yeah, he's bigger, man. I mean, come on.
It's Willie Beeman, man.
Yeah, Willie Beeman. Willie
Beeman. The song's cheesy as all hell.
My name is Willie. Beeman. I keep the ladies creaming, and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me, you're dreaming.
That's what I do miss, though.
What?
Teams don't get songs anymore.
Teams?
Yeah. The Chicago Bears, when they won the Super Bowl, they came out with a song.
Okay.
But it's cheesy shit. So they're kind of playing off of that, I think, in real life. But nowadays, you don't do that shit, you know? Players are like legit rappers and shit. You got in the basketball, you got Damian Lillard and all these other guys are like making real music. So throughout the movie, there are also a lot of like race points that are still valid today about the owners and the head coaches, and there's not many black head coaches and not many black owners. Even today, like Brian Flores from the Miami Dolphins is still suing the NFL because of some shenanigans that they wanted the tank and all this other shit. So it's pretty wild that a made-believe movie from 1999 is still addressing issues that the NFL is still battling with. Not battling with, it's just not, they're not progressing in that sense at all.
In that area.
All these years later, 20 plus years later, it's wild.
I mean, they cover up several topics that I like. Well, not topics. I mean, they had the story with the team.
Yeah.
The story with the coach.
Yeah.
And the story with the owners. All that plays out through the movie. You know, blending.
Yeah.
Most of the movie just the team. That's it. You know. This is the players, the coaches, and the owners with a make play movie.
Which is how it is. Like the owner affects the coach. The coach affects the player, and that again, that's cool. How I think this is the realest football movie of all time. Even like you were saying, it's realer than even any other movie that was based off of real shit.
Yeah.
you know. But again, now watching it with like older, wiser football eyes, Pacino as a coach is terrible because you're supposed to ride the wave. You're supposed to ride the hot hand, which is what Willie Beeman is. He's getting you wins. Just because Dennis old ass Quaid was your quarterback, it's what have you done for me lately? That's what the football is. So everything that Willie is saying in Pacino's in the coach's house when they're eating jambalaya and shit, which that was a little racist, and all that was a little racist too. So that feels a little racist too. That because Pacino is friends with the white old quarterback, and he doesn't want the new black quarterback to come in and take the old white quarterbacks. There's like a little underlying racism, which could be true still in the NFL today. As I'm saying, it hits a lot of points that's still true today. But coming down to football, if Willie Beeman is winning you fucking games, no matter how he's doing it, that's who you ride. That's the main guy. That's who you ride throughout the whole season. So I was on Willie Beeman's side on that part when they were arguing.
Okay, but he only just won 2 games. He always already hype up. He thinks
did
he
he go to his head? Yes. Well, then as a coach, you have to try to bring him down.
Let's just say that Dennis Quaid, real life, that Tom Brady gets hurt.
That's how Tom Brady's career started.
No, but let's do it the other way.
It's the same. It's the same. Drew Bledsoe was the shit, and Drew
let's
Bledsoe
just say
got hurt.
Tom Brady got hurt, and there's another quarterback. Let's just say a black quarterback.
But it wasn't Tom Brady. Dennis Quaid's record was shit too.
He makes the wins. They win a championship.
No, they didn't. They had not won a championship. Not with Dennis Quaid. No, not with Cap.
They had a winning record.
No, they didn't. Yeah. It was like 2-4.
They was 7-4, man.
But it wasn't good enough. I don't think.
They made it to the playoffs.
Not with Dennis Quaid.
When Dennis Quaid got hurt, they already lost 4 in a row, right?
That's what I'm saying. They lost. They lost 4 in a row under the cap,
and then they won 2 more.
Right.
So there was the record when they lost it. The fourth one, the record was 7-6. You know
okay, that's not a great. And if Willie Beeman wins you 2, what says he's not going to win you 3? And he's young enough. Yes, he's a 3rd string quarterback, but he's getting you wins. That's who you ride with. I know. There's a whole thing like who do the players believe? But and that's another thing too. The players were a little pissed off of Willie Beeman's success going to his head. Yeah. But you ride the hot hand.
Yeah, but the thing is with the coach Tony, you know, Tony Montana. No, that's another Tony. You fucking with me?
It is Tony D'Amato.
Oh yeah,
it's Tony D'Amato.
Yeah, that's Tony Montana.
When you made the joke?
Yeah, I made a joke.
Oh, okay, good job.
He was making his own plays. He making his own shit. I know he was making his wins, but the thing with the coaches, they be doing this shit for years and it's been work, you know.
But it's a different guy.
I know. That's why they have to communicate.
Right. That's what I'm saying. As a coach, Tony D'Amato sucked ass. Because you're not going to have Willie Beeman in the pocket. You're going to develop play action plays where he's going to roll out the pocket and you're going to a lot of RPOs. Yeah. And he didn't never adjust it to Willie. He wanted Willie to adjust to the team. Willie is the main guy. I know. You have Willie figure out the plays.
Which quarterbacks do play like Willie Beeman?
In the early 90s?
Yeah.
Michael Vick.
He was the first one. That's right.
What do you mean he was the first one? No, there was like Doug Williams was a black quarterback that he's the first one to win a championship ever.
But Blake's like started running.
Sexy like that is Michael Vick. Sexy and like an attractive. Like, holy shit, he's running out of the pocket. He outran the whole defense. Like, he burned everybody.
Yeah, that was
Michael Vick.
He was the first one, right? Kinda, right? So it's kind of hard to see. The old school, trying to blend in.
That's the battle with the movie.
Yeah.
But the Falcons didn't bench Michael Vick because he was getting, No. Michael Vick was murdering fucking dogs in his kitchen, dog. And he was still the fucking main guy of the Falcons. Yeah. And then Michael Vick is so sick, he came out of that, rehabilitated, and still was sick with the Eagles afterwards.
Yeah. Because he was a great
good quarterback with what he could do, right? Yeah. He could fling it, he could do all this other shit. As a coach, you use your players and try to get the best out of their players.
That's right.
Pacino wanted Beeman to be in the box of Tony D'Amato. That's why I say he, as a coach, he sucks ass.
Yeah.
Which the ending doesn't make sense either. Because, I'm going to start a new team with Willie Beeman, who I've been fighting with this whole time. What? No, Willie Beeman would want to stay with him. It doesn't make any sense. It's just weird how it ends. It feels like a dream sequence because they're like retiring him. Goodbye, you did a good job, coach. And then there's a switch, and he's like, I'm signing Willie Beeman on my new expansion team, and he turns heel on everybody, and everyone's like, what are you doing? No, boo! You're looking Lynch in his ass. That part didn't make sense to me.
Because he clicked. I mean, he knew that Cap was through, right?
So he's a backstabber to Cap.
No, he's not a backstabber because
and he's a Two-Face with Billy Beeman.
No. You saw fuck Tony.
Fuck Tony.
You fucking movie. You fucking with the world. Remember when we talked in the locker room when they play in Dallas, right? I mean, you do what I gotta do, coach. That way brings back Willie, right? So they both know that he's through, man. He didn't backstab him. He was fighting for him the whole time.
It just took him a while to get where it's so immediate nowadays for me to be like, you ride the hot hand. It took him the whole movie to be like, okay, I gotta have to design plays for Willie Beeman. I have to do all this shit. Well, yeah, that's what you should have done from the beginning, which they didn't. But again, I like that the whole movie is about the game, like the whole game of football.
Yeah, that's around everything.
LT taking the quarter zone, you know, you're gonna fucking die with one more hit. But I need to get this fucking tackle to be able to get $40 million in the bank. That's real shit.
Yeah.
Inject me with whatever, Doc, just so I could get there. And the Doc being shady, that's another element that you missed when you were talking about the owners and the thing. The doctors play a huge thing in the
fucking
in
James
football.
Woods.
James Wood, he's the evil motherfucker. Hades.
Yeah.
Inject me with whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. Just so I can feel it and play. And it cost fucking LT's fucking career, but he got that back. He doesn't care. The part that was a little what the fuck to me was Dennis Quaid's wife to be all pissed because he was
I know! He was slapping.
Bitch, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
300 pounds guys rich. Jumping on my head. And just because you want to get your bag or what? Yeah. Fuck you, like bitch.
In the real life, you got the other way around. They want the fucking guys at home with the kids and shit.
Giselle's like, Tom, stay your ass here.
And she was like, no.
And Tom was like, okay. And then, no, I'm not. No. I'm going to buy another Super Bowl.
She just lasted like 3 days with her wife. I'm going back.
I'm going ahead. I can't stand it.
I'm retired.
But yeah,
I mean, it's a good football movie.
It's a great football movie, and I like
how the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is great, even though this sounds a little racist too. Because when Quaid is there, it's country, and then Willie Beeman comes in and it's hip hop. There's like a lot of underlying racism shit. But I also like that they flip the crowd. Usually, when you're watching a football movie, you're rooting for the good guys, and you're the good guys. And in this case, Dallas were the good guys in this movie's perspectives because they had home field advantage, and the crowd is booing your good guys, the one you want them to win. Usually it's not like that. You know, the only other movie I can think of was like The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler, because there were the prison guys, but even though that the crowd eventually flipped on them. But what does kind of annoy me in sports movies, when they make a big deal out of like the quarterfinals. You know, Angels in the Outfield did the same thing too. Like, it's the game that they won wasn't the Super Bowl, and then they lost the next game. Yeah, it's so like blue balls. Like, what? It's all this, and you're not. I'm watching the whole season, and you're not gonna show me the game where they lost.
I mean, it's real life. Well,
no, it's not real life. I'm watching the game where my team loses every fucking year. Let's go.
I don't. I mean, they don't need to. You know.
Yeah, they fucking need to. You're just gonna show me where they win, and then the next game, like it,
going up.
They win. I think they win like it's like they won the wild card, right? And then they lost in the next one, and then they cut to the press conference where that weird shit happens. Yeah, it's just a little. I want to see the finals. Get to the finals. Win the finals. No, we're celebrating for first rounds, and then you don't show me when they get bounced out, and you're gonna take whatever.
You don't want to see that. I mean, you don't. I mean,
not to, but it just that takes. I mean, it's my.
Yeah.
It's my comment on sports movies as a whole.
Oh, okay.
Any Given Sunday is the only one that does that. They all do that. Every time. It's like they don't win the finals every time. You know, it's like, oh, they won the semis and then they moved on and then they lost and then they just cut. They fast forward. Like, well, show me the big game. But whatever. Well, MVP, Cameron, dog.
Oh, Mija Cameron, way. When I saw her,
you remembered? remembers about the mask, which is another episode of Lists coming
Because
in the future.
It was a few years later, right? Just a few.
Yeah.
Before she's slimmed down.
Before whatever happened.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that means.
She's making right now. Yeah.
Yeah, just because she's a bitch and she's like playing that the daughter and she's trying to make that reputation go away. She's struggling herself. There's a lot of different stories in this little sports movie. Oliver Stone is one of the greatest. Oliver Stone is just one of the greatest. Of course, he's done all of his movies are like that, so it makes sense for the football movie to be like that too. But that is not the only shark movie we've seen. I've also watched Jaws over here with Felix. If you'd like to go watch the List episode on that, I'm going to leave it right here for you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And always and forever, you do you.
You saw Jaws?
Yes, I saw Jaws. You're supposed to say bye.
Oh, sorry. Bye.
Idiot.